The ROSTERMANIA news just continues to get crazier as every single day goes on. It actually really is ROSTERMANIA this year, probably the craziest we've ever seen in the CDL. But the Falcons are targeting Scrap from LAT in an attempt to buy him out for some insane numbers. I mean, the numbers you saw in the title is not clickbait. We're going to talk about that here in a second. Welcome back to the channel. Obviously, we're here to talk about ROSTERMANIA as always. So just make sure you sub to the channel so you stay up to date. But Falcons targeting Scrap from the LA Thieves here. And the initial post from Ronnie earlier today, I'm kind of going to look weird on your screen here. He basically said this remains highly unlikely and that this would likely require a buyout that would shatter the record for the highest in Call of Duty history, which makes sense because the Falcons have a shit ton of money, pardon my language, and Scrap is the reigning MVP, right? So this would be crazy. But Ghost of Hope came out, and this was an hour ago at this point, saying, and this is huge grain of salt, right? This is what he's heard. He's not even 100% sure on this himself, but I do like that Hope is willing to tweet things, even if they're not 100%, just to kind of keep the community in the know with maybe what he's hearing, that they offered somewhere around $2 million for Scrap, and that the original offer may have been around $900K. $2 million for a single player in the Call of Duty League is just an obscene amount of money. Like, they paid $2 million for a Counter-Strike player, which is 5x the esport COD is. I mean, COD's peak viewership is like 350. Counter-Strike's averaging like 2 million on like a normal, like for a normal major, not even like a big time one, right? Not even their peak. So this is just insane money for a Call of Duty Pro. Now, Scrap is one of the best, right? Reigning MVP. He's also a big personality face in the league. So if there was players that are going to require a higher buyout, I would imagine Scrap would be one of them. $2 million to me as an LAT fan, right? You would be crazy to not accept this, bro. Like, if you get this offer, and I even have my reply here to Hope, which is right here, it's crazy. And I don't want Scrap to leave. I never want Scrap to leave. I would love if he was in a Thieves jersey the rest of his career. Totally would understand from a business perspective, this would set them up insane. Not only would they be able to take this money and maybe go get some extra players this season to keep them competitive and, you know, build around Hydra to have a good roster this year, but it would also probably pay for the entire team for like at least a year, maybe even more if they really are going to get 2 million or potentially even more. If they got offered 2 million now, maybe they could drive this money up even further. This is like not the news I thought was going to happen. I knew we were going to get something crazy today. It's actually kind of funny if I go back on my profile. I tweeted 10 hours ago at 10:42 a.m. So there's got to be something crazy happening, right? And I knew there was going to be something. I did not know it was going to be this just 2 hours later that was hitting the timeline. The Falcons trying to get Scrap. Scrap was even on stream. Zuma called him and he was kind of joking around. I need 1.5 million to go there. He doesn't want to go there. He's not going there. But also, one, it's not really in his control. If the Thieves decide to sell him, they decide to sell him. And two, obviously he's going to say this, right? People don't really, the players are never going to confirm what's happening. They're going to bounce around the questions and kind of deny things up until it actually does happen. So I don't expect Scrap to say this here, but $2 million, bro. If they really got, I personally don't believe they were actually offered 2 million, by the way. I just want to put that out there. This was the same thing I heard on my stream from all different sources. I heard 900K, I heard 2 million, I heard things in between. 2 million to me, I think it's unrealistic. I don't think they actually got offered it. Could they get it eventually? Maybe with some negotiation, but I don't know if it got that high already. In other news too, beyond just the Thieves Scrap stuff, this was pretty crazy because this tweet came out at 5:16 p.m. my time. I had someone come into my Twitch chat and let me know about this, and then I tweeted out an hour later, and then the Flank has also tweeted out now at this point, so all my impressions are getting stolen by the Flank. It's okay. No, I nothing against Gersh, man. Shout out Gersh. But apparently Real, as leaked here in Discord messages by the founder of Team Heretics, is heading to Koi for 3x the salary, 180K from what he was originally earning on the Miami Heretics. So he was earning 60, right? 60 times 3 would be 180. So from a 60K salary on the Heretics to Koi for 3x definitely makes it pretty interesting because the whole rumor thing of them wanting to pair up a Beezy with Joe Deceives and Kenny and Draza now doesn't feel like it's really going to happen anymore, right? So what could they potentially do? And we're going to talk about that on the rostermania.com website, which we're going to get to here in a second. And also another thing that happened that's just important to know, interesting to note, they finally officially talked about on stream why Neptune hasn't been linked in ROSTERMANIA. There were some rumors and things floating around. People were throwing out things. Apparently, it's because at EWC, before they played the grand finals, Neptune was going around talking to players about teaming for next season, which I guess, right, like you haven't even finished the event yet. You have a chance to still win EWC. He knew he was going to be a free agent. He knew Surge were not going to be able to keep any of them, and they were all going to be off their contracts. But kind of maybe mentally talked himself or his teammates, maybe his teammates not really enjoying that he was talking to other players before they were about to play a grand final that they could obviously potentially win, which they didn't. They got 4-0'd. And Neptune kind of got fried, especially in the last map. But this just might be why Nep is not in a team. And even Kason said there's a player in the league that he would never sign to FaZe, and it was kind of alluded that I guess it was Neptune, from what I understand. So just got to put that out there. But now I want to look at this rostermania.com website, because there is definitely, first of all, this website is sick. I'll leave a link to it in the description. This is really dope. And I know the Rostermania tracker I usually have, this is just so much easier. So we're going to check this out. But he has all the rumors up here, all the rosters, and you can even go over here to create your own. And we're going to play around with this for a second, because what happens with Scrap is really the domino that determines a lot, but it makes it really, really interesting what could go on. So for the sake of this experiment, we're going to pretend the Thieves sell Scrap. I really hope they don't, but if they get offered a shit ton of money, I would understand. Over here would obviously be Celium, and then added on to the Falcons would be Scrap, right? Then it leaves the Thieves in an interesting spot. Apparently they're willing to shop around Envoy. If you are getting the money for Scrap, maybe they do go buy out a guy like a Beezy who's a restricted free agent. Who really knows? Koi, on the other hand, we know apparently they're getting Real, as leaked by the founder of the Heretics in those Discord messages. And there was also some talks about them potentially going with a Draza Kleenex team, which was kind of rumored a couple days ago. But the same person in my Twitch chat who was talking about this Real thing, who sent me that original link, was also telling me that this is what they think might be happening. So we're going to play with this for now, and we're going to throw Koi as this roster, which I think with the pace they're going to play at would actually be kind of nasty. On the side of FaZe, we obviously, it's kind of rumored and sort of linked that it's going to be 0-4 and Abuza over here. This, to me, I have no idea. I think like Draza, if they could keep him, would be the best for this, but for a hypothetical, we're putting them down here. This also shows you, like, it is hard to build these rosters if this is how things fall out. So it definitely gets it pretty interesting. The Gentlemates obviously have been, they're trying to get a Beezy, they're trying to get Draza, they were trying to get Joe D. We know they have some money to spend. What they're going to do, to me, honestly, I really don't know. But I could see them picking up an Abeezy here to build around as their core piece. But then from here, I don't even know what you're kind of going to do with this team, right? Kenny's available, Ghosty maybe is available. You got all different players in here. Neptune, who I think maybe could be a sub duo in here for Abeezy on this Gentlemates team. Maybe they pick up Dan Ghosty in here too, someone that's available that they would potentially be interested in. And then they need another AR. Do they look at Insight? Do they try to bring in Kenny in here? Do they look at Nasty? There's like obviously some players in here, and dude, I don't know what they would do personally. There was also rumors that the G2 team, even though I guess they were going to keep Estriel, wants to get the entirety of Omit, so we're just going to throw them on here. For the Boston Breach, the only name I've heard linked to them was Geo in place of Cammy here on this spot, which I think is an upgrade for them, because I do think, or not for Cammy, for Awakening, I do think Geo's an upgrade there. But then now if you're some of these other teams like Gentlemate, you're looking for a fourth. Thieves are looking for 2. Heretics are looking for 2. FaZe are looking for a fourth. I don't know what these teams do if this is how it shakes out, which is probably why this is not how it's going to shake out. Like, I'd imagine Thieves are going to have their 4 set before some of these other teams are set, but in kind of how we're doing this, I just don't know what you do. Maybe you bring back Kenny, Hydra, Envoy. Some people think they should try to get Draws, but I mean, Draws being linked here could also be a thing. Maybe they go for a Nasty. Maybe they go for an Insight. Maybe they get Formal to come back over to COD. Nadeshot gives him the keys like he joked about last season. We'll throw Nasty in there just because I think I'd rather have him over Insight, and then we can throw Insight down here just for the sake of putting players on teams. But this is really just for me to show you how difficult this is. Like, ROSTERMANIA is, I think right now it's really hanging on what happens with Scrap, but this is still just, I don't know what they're going to do. For Miami, do they stick with the Spanish thing? Do they just bring Metals back and sign Eric Boom in place of Real, who Eric Boom was pretty good in Challengers last year? I will give him that. And then for FaZe, I mean, what are they going to do? Do they bring in another AR? If it is another AR, I don't know who it is. Do they bring in a sub and move Simp to a flex, or maybe 0-4 to a flex? Like, that might be their best option to try and bring in like Kismet over here and move Simp or 0-4 to a flex. Like, dude, I don't know. I just for the sake of this, honestly, I'm probably just going to stop here because I genuinely don't know what these teams are going to do. But this news is not what I thought was going to happen. I really don't want to see Scrap go, but if they get offered $2 million for him, or if, I mean, even a bit less than that is still insane. I mean, they apparently spent $75K to buy him, 150 total for him and Envoy, 75K as Zuma reiterated multiple times on the flank today. Turning that into $1 million plus is insane ROI. That's just an insane return on your investment that I could understand why why they would make that move, even though I would not be happy. I'd be pretty upset, right? I would understand. But you let me know in the comments, do you think the Thieves will sell scrap? Put it down below. I mean, 24 hours from now, we might already know what's happened. So let me know in the comments what you think. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to sub to the channel for more, and hopefully I'll see you all in the next one.